Welcome. This video will show you how to set up your Google Drive and a Google site that you'll be using throughout your time here at SAE. As part of your Google account, your student email account, you have access to a significant amount of storage on your Google Drive. In order to access your Google Drive, you go to drive.google.com and you'll need to sign in with your student ID. So your empty Google Drive will look something like this, without the quick access elements at the top. They just refer to documents that you might have used recently. So basically what we want to do is set up a section of your drive which is shared with your facilitators, and a little bit of information there which you can use, which is private and is not shared with anybody. What we do is we create a folder to start with and call this shared documents. And there we have it. And I'm just going to create a simple Google Doc here, which we're going to call Colin's private document. I'll show you what that's for a little bit later. Okay, so inside your shared documents, what we want to do is set up a folder for each of the modules that you're going to be doing in this trimester. So let's, you might be doing AUD 170 and AUD 171. So each of these folders you'll need to share with the facilitator for that module. In some cases you might have more than one facilitator, but the idea is that everything that you do in that module goes inside these folders. So let's just, for the sake of the argument, set one of these up. If you right click on or control click on the icon, it will bring down a list there to enable you to share. And you're looking for the email address of your facilitator. So let's choose Nick Metcalf, who is one of the lecturers, one of the facilitators in Brisbane. Notice that it's a different extension to what you have on your student. You want him to be able to view only at this stage the documents that you have in there. And we send this. You're going to get a notice that this person is outside of your organization. That's because the student's domain and the faculty domain is different. So we say yes to this. And you'll see that a little sharing icon has appeared there. So you're going to do the same with each of these for the facilitators in those modules. When we go back a step to the private documents here, we're not going to share that with anybody, and we're going to use that document for your personal reflections. It's kind of like a personal private diary, and you can use whatever you put in there as source materials for your reflections. So it's a pretty simple process. Each of these folders shared with your facilitator. Inside that, you might make further folders. You might say the documents for project 1, for example, go in with that. And that's automatically shared with your facilitator. So in addition to the documents itself, what we want you to do is create a Google site. And the Google site is going to become the repository for effectively a learning journal. And it will link all the information that you need to provide to your facilitator. So it might be project files, information that you've shared, any variety of information can be shared with there. Creating a Google site is pretty simple. Again, the new button here brings down a list of possible options, and you have to go to the More section to create a Google site. The first thing to do is to name that site. And what we want you to do is name that with your preferred name and your student number. And okay. So that's basically created your site, and you can publish that site to either the student domain or to anyone, basically. So what we need to do is set that up so that anyone at SAE Institute can find it. This refers to students. This is going to be a semi-public website. It's not available to the world, only to students. But we also want to share that site with your facilitators. So we're going to choose Nick again, but any of the other facilitators as well. Make sure you use your actual email addresses of your facilitators there. Again, it'll request, you know what you're doing, say yes, and we can publish that. So what that does is create effectively a public website, and you can share this address with whoever you want to. We'll be able to have a look at that. So what we want you to do is create a page for each of the modules that you're enrolled in. Google Sites is pretty simple to work with, and it can get quite, you can create quite complex websites, but we just want a simple process right from the beginning. So come up here and add a page. Just put the name of your module. So we have 2 modules to start with. And on that page, we can then insert whatever you want. We can grab text boxes, start typing. We can embed images, embed documents, and so forth. But I give you a bit of an idea of what we're going to use this for. Here's one I prepared earlier. So here's an example. We're going to be asking you to provide information about what you do in class, out class, and how that's working for you. So we fundamentally use 3 questions: what, so what, and now what. These are referred to as our reflective practice framework. And although those questions are simple, you can get quite deep with them. So basically, we're going to ask you to indicate what you did before class, what are the implications of that, and what are you doing about it. So in each case, I've got an example here. This is what happened during class. What is the implications? I need to catch up. So I didn't do the activity, I need to catch up. And what happens with that? How am I making an improvement? What activities am I engaging in, etc., etc. And then I'm going to link to any related documents. So in this case, I'm going to link to the project. Firstly, choose what I want to link to. Make sure that this link sharing is switched on. And then I can add the link in place. And that means that my facilitator is going to be able to access that material. Don't forget to hit publish. This will be what my facilitator can see. So that's basically all that's required. Each week, we would expect you to drop in a new text box and add some more information here. It's important to realize that this is you presenting evidence of the work that you're doing that contributes to your holistic grading and allows your facilitator to know what's happening in your academic life and how you're progressing with your work. So this is a very important page for each module. Now, I referenced the private diary before. So what we would suggest that you do is you use a Google document that's unshared or another electronic document of some form that can't get lost, and use that to write down your personal thoughts about what's going on in relation to your learning and your life and how those things interconnect. We don't want to see that information directly, but you can refer to those ideas and those concepts in the information that you share publicly. We want to make a distinct difference between your personal musings and the information that is relevant to your learning. And of course, if there's things that you need to share that are impacting in your personal life, then please make contact with our student services advisors. Okay, that's about it for now. If you have any problems, talk to your facilitator and they'll help you through the process.